For centuries, across countless religions, spiritualities, and philosophies, the story has been essentially the same. The soul is the grown-up, it's the wise old grandparent of your consciousness. A brilliant light dimmed and squeezed down when it dives into this messy, temporary little container we call a human body. The logic is comforting, isn't it? Our life here on Earth is like a kindergarten class. It's a brief, limited stop where our already advanced soul just has to learn some lessons and then return to the non-physical realm, where it remembers all its cosmic, inherent wisdom. It's a beautiful thought. It gives meaning to the struggle. It tells us that deep down, behind all the mistakes and the stumbles, we're actually perfect. But here's the uncomfortable question nobody wants to ask. What if none of that is true? What if souls, the core essence of who we are actually just as immature, messy, and downright clueless as we feel every day? This isn't a popular thought. It doesn't sell books or meditation apps. And yet, this isn't just an idle philosophical brain teaser either. This is a question that completely reframes your daily life, your struggles, and your most important decisions. If your soul isn't already a wise, ancient being, and souls in the afterlife aren't either, then your life right now, this moment, this breath, this choice, is not just a temporary detour, it's the whole point. Part 1. Illusion of Innate Wisdom. In Buddhism, there's the concept of remembering past lives and achieving enlightenment. In New Age spirituality, people talk about old souls who carry wisdom from previous lifetimes. Even in everyday conversations, someone might say, deep down, you already know the answer, as if there's some internal guru just waiting for you to quiet your mind and listen. Now, think about a typical day. Maybe you get caught in traffic and feel that flash of road rage, that childish, unreasonable spike of anger. Maybe you spend an hour scrolling through social media, comparing your own life to someone else's highlight reel, feeling that old, familiar ache of envy. Maybe you've been putting off calling an old friend because you're still nursing a several-year-old grudge that is serving absolutely no one. We tend to look at these moments of human frailty, including the jealousy, the pettiness, the lack of self-control, and we console ourselves by saying, well, that's just the human part of me. My soul, my real self, is above this. It's just trapped in this limited body. This thinking is an easy way out. It lets us compartmentalize our flaws, telling ourselves they don't count because they aren't who we really are. But what if that road rage, that envy, that childish grudge is actually coming straight from the source? The idea we're fleshing out here is simple, yet radical. The soul world is not a grand, serene university of enlightenment. It's more like a really big, busy, and sometimes quite dysfunctional, non-physical community. If we, as humans, are prone to ego, fear, and drama, there's no logical reason to assume that shedding a physical body magically incinerates all that psychological baggage. Flawed decision-making, emotional overreactions, intellectual blind spots, these things aren't caused by the body. They are features of an immature soul. This shatters the concept of inherent wisdom. You are not a genius who had their IQ score wiped when they were born. This might sound depressing at first, but stick with it. What you are is a growing mind, and your life on Earth is not about recovering lost knowledge, but about creating new knowledge for the very first time. There is no hidden blueprint, no secret cosmic cheat sheet your soul remembers. It's all brand new every day. Part 2. Earth is the crucible, not the waiting room. This perspective shifts the entire weight of existence onto the present moment. If your soul isn't bringing a satchel full of pre-existing enlightenment into this life, then your life on Earth becomes the only place the real work happens. We seem to assume reincarnation is a system where a wise soul, like a cosmic graduate student, drops into a difficult life to learn a specific lesson, maybe patience, maybe forgiveness or humility. But if souls are as immature as we humans are, the whole perspective changes. Reincarnation in this light isn't a master plan. It might just be the neutral process of existence continuing. Individuals still grappling with the same basic emotional roadblocks they had in a past life might simply be repeating similar emotional and intellectual cycles until they become unstuck. Imagine a soul that was, in its last human life, deeply insecure and always seeking external validation. They might have been a famous movie actor constantly chasing applause. They die, they go back to the soul world, which, remember, is just as emotionally immature and complex as Earth. They don't suddenly have an epiphany, they are still an insecure consciousness. In the next life, they might become a workaholic influencer, still chasing that validation, just in a different uniform. The lesson isn't learned because the soul hasn't mastered the lesson. This means the growth has to be intentional and laborious in this life. This is where the psychological framework becomes relevant. When we look at a concept like soul retrieval or connecting to your higher self, this new idea suggests that the higher self isn't some ancient spirit guide waiting patiently for you to catch up. You aren't tapping into a pre-existing reservoir of wisdom. You are forging wisdom in the here and now, like a blacksmith pounding hot iron. Part 3. Embracing the complexity of the soul world. Yes, this philosophical shift also forces us to rethink our ideas about the afterlife, non-physical realm. We romanticize it as a place of pure benevolence, harmony and unconditional love. We imagine spirit guides to be beings of immaculate, serene wisdom. But if the soul world is essentially a collection of consciousnesses that are, on average, no more intelligent or emotionally mature than humanity, then that realm is likely just as complex, chaotic and morally ambiguous as Earth. Think about the average human conversation, the average family drama, the average workplace conflict. Now, remove the constraints of time and physical body, and imagine those dynamics continuing. This perspective challenges the idea of a purely benevolent spirit guide system. A guide in the soul world might be just as likely to give you flawed, biased, or even just plain bad advice as your well-meaning but emotionally immature friend down the street. They might have a slightly broader perspective on the non-physical mechanics of the universe, but when it comes to emotional maturity, including items like empathy, patience, or selfless love, they are struggling the same battles we are. This has an incredibly powerful grounding effect on your life. It means you can't simply hand over your personal responsibility to a spiritual authority. It means that the difficult, messy, exhausting work of self-improvement, the therapy, the meditation, the journaling, the hard conversations, the moment-to-moment choice to be kinder, is not something you do to please an already wise soul. It is the very act of making your soul wiser. Part 4. The beautiful weight of responsibility. The reason this matters so profoundly to your current life is because it puts the power, the urgency, and the immense value of this particular existence squarely in your hands. When we assume the soul is already wise, we often drift into a kind of passive spirituality, thinking everything happens for a reason, or the universe has a plan. It can lead to apathy, a sense that we don't really need to try that hard because the soul already knows the answer and will guide us there eventually. But if the soul is immature, then you can take control. Every good thing you do, every difficult choice you make to be the better person, every time you choose compassion over defensiveness, you are not just working out a temporary human problem. You are literally evolving the core essence of your being. You are taking an immature consciousness and pulling it towards maturity. The challenges of the human condition, such as the betrayals, the heartbreak, the epic failures, are not a temporary detour. They are the whole story. They are the only training camp that matters because they are the only place where consequences are immediate, feelings are intense, and the limitations of the body force you to focus. When you finally achieve a moment of genuine, mature kindness or profound understanding, it's not a moment of remembering a truth you already knew. It's a moment of creation. You have, through effort, struggle and time, made something new. A spark of genuine wisdom that did not exist in your soul before. So, the next time you feel like you're fumbling through life, making dumb mistakes and generally acting like an emotional infant, don't write it off as just a human problem. See it for what it truly is. A sign that your soul, that core part of you, is an excited, clumsy and wonderfully immature student. And the only classroom that matters, the only place where you can make it smarter and kinder is right here, right now.